Now let us continue the flavonoids. And first of all, I will let you know where it occurs and where we have to isolate this one. Therefore, since the flavonoid is a naturally occurring compound, it can be synthesized also, but from the natural source, it occurs from the hair plants. Therefore, it is not particularly confined to any particular family of natural order, but there are certain types of the flavonoids which can occur in the certain families. For example, Rutaceae, Apocynaceae, Leguminosae, Compositae. They contain the highly substitutive flavonoids like your highly polymethoxyflavonoids compound. That's why the selection of the plant is very important. What type of the flavonoid structure you needed, therefore accordingly you have to select it. And the second thing is that they are not confined to the particular they are not confined to the particular part of the tissue of the plant. They may be found in the roots, leaves, stems, seeds, spires, pollen grains. And here the certain particular types of the flavonoid is associated with a certain tissue. For example, the anthocyanins is a typical pigment and it is found in the usually in the fruit juices, flowers, and therefore though it is also present in the other parts of the plants, but in lower concentration. Therefore, if you want to get it in the higher concentration, that's why you have to select the flowers or the fruits of the plant. Okay, this is the part of this. And the flavonoids and the isoflavones and the dimer of the flavones, they occur in the woody tissue of the plants. Therefore, this is the certain parts, important points while you're going to the natural product chemistry. And now, before coming to the isolation techniques, you must be aware that whether this plant contain the flavonoid or not. Therefore, for that one, they are having the particular color test. And for color test, this is the list of the color test. This one. You see, you have to take the plant extract. You dry the plant extract it in the ethanol, or the isolated or the pure compound. You have to take the compound also in the ethanol, then add the magnesium HCl and sodium amalgam HCl. These are the two parts of this one which is mentioned in the here. Either the magnesium HCl you can test it or with the sodium amalgam. That's why whatever the plant extract or the pure compound in the ethanol, you have to divide the extract into two test tubes. And in one test tube, you add the magnesium HCl, and then you see what is the color change. That's why this is the list of here. If it is having the flavonone, then it will give you red, magenta, violet, blue with magnesium HCl. If it is with sodium amalgam HCl, it will particularly give the red color. That's why that is the clear indication that your compound contains or your plant contains the flavonone nucleus. If it is having the flavonone, then the color change will be from red to magenta, and with sodium amalgam HCl, it will be yellow or the pale red. Similarly, with the flavone, with magnesium HCl, it gives you the yellow to the red, and sodium amalgam HCl, it will give you the red color. Isoflavone, yellow with magnesium HCl and sodium amalgam, it will give the pink or the pale red color. And isoflavonone with magnesium HCl, there will be no color. There will be no change in the color, but when you move towards the sodium amalgam HCl, it will give immediately red color. That's the indication of the isoflavone nucleus. And similarly, the flavonone, it gives the color change will be red to magenta, and with sodium amalgam HCl, it will give you the brownish yellow. And similarly, with the chalcone, there will be no color with the magnesium HCl. It remains as such. And with sodium amalgam HCl, it will give you the pale yellow color. And dihydrochalcone, there will be no color either with the magnesium HCl or with the sodium amalgam HCl. That is the indication. While in the case of the anthocyanins or anthocyanidins, in this case, the color change will be red, which immediately fades to the pale pink. And with sodium amalgam HCl, it gives you the yellowish orange color. This is the particular indication of the flavonoidic nucleus, what your plant was having. Therefore, you can just test it before moving towards the extraction. You have to test it that whether the plant contains your flavonoid nucleus or not. If it is present, then what type of flavonoid is there? Either flavone, isoflavone, flavanone, chalcone, whatever is there. Then accordingly, you have to proceed for the extraction and the isolation. Now, in the case of the isolation techniques of the plant, flavonoids is very tedious. Now, whatever the part of the plant, either the leaves, roots, flowers, stem, pollen grains, whatever is there, you have to dry the material under shade. Why? Because in order to avoid the oxidation with the atmosphere, you have to dry the whole plant material under shade, and there is a perforated place where over which you have to keep the plant material and keep it for this for certain days under shade so that it may be dried. And after drying, you have to crush and make the powder, then weigh it. Okay. The dried plant material is then extracted with the light petroleum ether. Light petroleum ether, because the petroleum ether extract consists of the chlorophyll A, chlorophyll B, and the fatty materials. That's why in order to remove these parts, these compounds, you have to extract it with the petroleum ether. And after that, after extraction with the petroleum ether, you have to go towards the other solvents in order to according to the higher polarity. It may be your benzene, it may be your chloroform, it may be your diethyl ether, ethyl acetate, so on. That's why according to the polarity, you have to select the solvent. And solvent in each case is dried by the steam distillation, and the extract is obtained. And after that, you can just test it. What type of the flavonoid your plant contain, or the part of the plant contain, the chalcone, flavanone, isoflavone, etc., whatever is there. And therefore, if you see that there are certain polar flavonoids. Polar flavonoids means they are containing the number of hydroxyl groups. If you increase the number of hydroxyl groups, its polarity increase. Therefore, whatever the nucleus, that is chalcone, flavanone, flavanols, whatever is there, you have to extract it with the ethanol or acetone or methanol or water. And water is very rarely, but you can select the higher polar solvents, more polar solvents. That may be your ethanol, it may be your methanol, it may be your acetone, or the combination of these. And likewise, in the previous case, you have to remove the solvent in each case by the steam distillations. Therefore, you can get it. And if your compound or your plant contain the glycosidic part, then the procedure is different one. In that case, either lipoanthocyanidins or the glycosides, you have to extract the plant material with the boiling water. And if your plant is containing the anthocyanins or anthocyanidin, that is the peculiar pigment of the flowers. Because you see, you are having the rose, you are having the lily, it is having the different types of the flavonoids, and that is called the anthocyanins. Due to the presence of the anthocyanins, it will give a beautiful colors. That is the main thing. Therefore, in order to extract the anthocyanins or the anthocyanidins, you have to select the acidified water or acidic methanol. Therefore, in this case, the solid material A glycone is extract, or the extract of the plant is there, or you can get it by the above procedures. Then it consists of the number of flavonoids. It consists of the mixture of the flavonoids. And therefore, then our duty becomes here that how to separate the number of flavonoids, the glycosides, or other things, how to separate this one. Therefore, there are certain techniques. If you are having the glycoside, then you have to hydrolyze it with diluted CL so that the sugar part will be removed and the A-glycone part will be removed, and the sugar A-glycone will be the mixture. Therefore, again, it has to be separated by the different techniques. That is your column chromatography, thin layer, gas layer chromatography, high pressure liquid chromatography, paper chromatography, etc. And out of these, the column chromatography is frequently used. But for sugar, you have to go through the other methods. You have to check it by the paper chromatography, and paper chromatography, you have to select the certain solvent, that is your N-butanol acetic acid water. This is about the method 1. Now you can proceed in method 2 also. In the case of the method 2, as in the previous case, you have to dry the plant material, whatever you are dealing are the flowers, leaves, woody tissue, whatever. You have to dry it under shade, crush to make powder, and then the dried plant material, you add to it the water. and lead acetate and boil it up to the extent. Okay, then you have to boil it over the water bath or the hot plate. You have to boil it, or by the steam distillation, that is. Therefore, you have to reflux it with the water, and then you add with the lead acetate. And then after that, you will get a precipitate and the filter it, then you will get a two parts. One is the PPT, other one is your filtrate. Then PPT is your tannin impurity that is usually associated with the flavonoidic nucleus. That's why in this way, you can separate it, you can get it free, the plant material from the tannin impurities. And the rest of the part is your filtrate. And your filtrate consists of the flavonoidic nucleus. That's why, and it is associated with the sugar normally in the plant of this. That's why the filtrate is diluted with water and then you add HCl. Why we add HCl? Because we have to remove the sugar, we have to get it hydrolyzed. So that the glycone part should be removed or the HCl or the sugar will be removed. Now, again, you will get a precipitate. After the adding the dilute HCl, you have to heat it up strongly or you have to reflux over the water bath. That's why you will get a two parts. One is your precipitate, other one is your filtrate. And precipitate is your flavone. That is your the mixture of the flavone, and the filtrate you consist of the sugar moiety that is detected by the paper chromatography, and then you have to use the authentic sugars at the checks. While you can use the ramenose, glucose, galactose, etc. On the paper chromatography, you put the spot of your compound and along with the spot of the authentic sugars. And accordingly, then you have to spray it and activate it, and then you'll get a spot over the wood paper. And in this way, you can just identify which sugar is present in your compound. And here, the precipitate, the other part was the precipitate, and precipitate since it consists of the mixture of the flavonoids. Again, because it is not a pure compound, and that is purified by the fraction crystallization from the organic solvents like your benzene, chloroform, ethanol, carbon disulfide. That's why you can, one of the technique is you just keep your compound in a solvent and keep it for the certain days for the fractional crystallization or leave it overnight for crystals, for development of the crystal. And again, if it is not successful, then you have to move to the chromatography, thin layer chromatography, TLC, and then you have to again test it with the color test of the flavonoids that whether we are on the right way or not. And once you are getting this one, then you can move the different techniques. What was the structure of your flavonoids? Suppose you are getting the isoflavones, or suppose you are getting the flavonoids or the flavonoids. Then you have to just confirm it. You have to that you are having a positive flavonoidic test. It is a certain, but just the idea. Then the structure is established by the other texts. In this way, you can move for the isolation and the characterization of isolation techniques of the flavonoids.